Hey everyone and welcome back. We've made our way to day number 2 of the Dota Asia Championships. That's right, the tournament on the east side with grossly amounts of money, $2.2 million prize pool up for grabs here and quickly on the rise. And we've made it into the meat of the tournament itself, and that's going to be the group stage. We have a huge round robin, a bunch of best of ones. We got 9 already scheduled today, 9 the day after, I believe 9 even the day after that. So I hope you're ready for some Dota because we have a disgustingly amount of it. But bringing you the English coverage for the Dota Asian Championships is Beyond the Summit in partnership with Dota Cinema. And we got streams happening live right now over on Beyond the Summit and Dota Cinema. And here on BTS2, I'm going to be bringing you the coverage. KotLGuy from my very own New York apartment studio. Very tiny and cramped, but we get the job done. But I'm not doing it alone. I got one of my best friends and good buddies joining me to lead it off. Is going to be none other than Mr. Maut himself. Maut, how's it going, buddy?
I'm doing pretty well, man. It's good to be here casting DAC. I was very excited. I was looking forward to this for pretty much the entire couple weeks leading up to this. And, you know, when you told me you'd like to have me on, and this feels like a mini TI4, and a lot of people have talked about how it's like TI 4.5 to a certain extent. And I mean, certainly with the amount of games, it feels like the group stages again where we're back at the Valve offices casting. And I mean, we get to see some really solid teams. The first matchup, some underrated teams to be sure. We see Tongfu a lot in the smaller Chinese tournaments like NEST, among other things. They're a team that plays pretty well. They get, you know, I'd say results in the median. They're right in the middle for the most part. And then you have Rave. They're the pride of Southeast Asia and the Korean scene over there, and especially Jo obviously leading the way as the core, as the carry. Our first game tonight, I'm excited, dude. Should be good.
I'm pretty amped, dude. Not going to lie. Definitely feeling the vibes right now. So these are two teams that people just kind of like didn't really care for and quickly surprised a lot of people. Tongfu came out with a qualifier with like the best record. Surprised everyone. Who are these kids? We thought Tongfu sucked. We thought they broke up. No, these kids are good, and you better be ready for it. Rave as well. And like you said, with JL leading out the front, this was a team that when they first came together, I was like, it's just another one of those teams that went over to Korea. They're trying to make something work. It's kind of awkward, but they have pulled out some pretty impressive upsets. They even took down New B. Like, don't sleep on them. They'll get you. So I'm excited about this. I didn't get a chance to really look at the odds, and people were already complaining about the bots and trading not working. But it shouldn't be about hats, people. It's got to be about the Dota itself. And to be honest with you, I would give this either way. I almost would go 50-50 on this one. How do you feel?
Well, according to Dota 2 Lounge, and this isn't my personal opinion, but Tongfu has a 63% odd favorite over Rave, who's 37%. So, just saying that's what Dota 2 Lounge is saying to me right now. I actually like Rave a lot. I think that Rave always feels like they have a lot to prove, especially because Jo, you go back to his old play in the EG days and how he kind of just came over to Korea. And like you said, you know, it's just like it feels like it's a player that goes over to Korea, but his success in Korea is already cemented. Now it's his success and Rave's success around the world. That's in question. And for Tongfu, you've got Kabu, who has been around the block. He played for the, I believe, TI2 squad, or maybe even TI3 squad for Tongfu. He's been around for some time with this squad, also in multiple different facets. So we'll see how this pans out. Right now, though, they're going to start things off with the Witch Doctor Tidehunter draft for Tongfu, Faceless Void, and Vengeful Spirit. We'll see if Jo picks up the Faceless Void. He is a real big fan of the hard carries. They like to really pick him up that one position hero. So a good start to be sure. Vengeful Spirit probably the support of the patch by far.
Oh yeah, there's no question. When you look at the raw numbers here, Mod, it's absolutely out of control. She is almost the top of all regions with the exception of China, which I believe is currently Batrider, but yeah, everybody, what's to say? She's the complete package. She's got a little bit of everything there. You got your range stun. She's a range to begin with. Her aura is beautiful in synergy with her allies. The wave works beautiful going into Roche, having the extra minus armor synergy. The swap is both good offensively for setups and defensively for crucial saves. And we could even see a bit of synergy there with the Faceless Void already by her side. And there's no reason that she should be able to make it past that first wave, whether it's pick or banned. And, well, another prominent grab, Ember Spirit, going to be picked up here. A lot of people were calling out for the Chrissy Faceless Void, so it could be a Jo Ember now to follow it up. But wow, look at this spicy pick right here. Phoenix going to be grabbed up from Tongfu.
Yeah, we're going to see a lot of Phoenix this tournament. I mean, it's been picked so often in Dota Pit, both as support and as the offlane. I know Meepo and Sybil really like to put the Phoenix in the offlane, but every other team feels like support support Phoenix is pretty good. And then Tongfu go for the Radiant Lycan, which is pretty solid. Axe is a very solid counter against the Lycan. Berserker's Call against Wolves and the Lycan himself attacking you is a lot of counter Helix proc. So once you get the Axe out of the way, you have a bit more room to work with, although against the Faceless Void, you can still get Chrono. That's something to keep in mind. And Ember Spirit obviously has his Searing Chains. But still, Lycan is okay on the Radiant side. They don't have too much armor reduction, but that's not really going to be an issue. He'll get his Assault Cuirass eventually. Radiant side, Roshan is not as great. It's usually better on the Dire team, but I think it's still a pretty good pick coming out. Now, Rave, they have room for another support and probably a mid laner. We'll see what happens here for Rave.
Yeah, we're going to... Our final setup here, Rave maybe looking to emphasize even more support power. They could always just fall back on the good old reliable Skywrath Mage even if they want that instant silence, but I don't know how much he could add here. He wouldn't really be able to break the egg that well. Lycan is just too speedy. He can run down the Chicken Man with relative ease. So finding something to offer, which Witch Doctor could have been a good candidate there, which has already been snagged up though from Tongfu. So something to build on top of that as far as the support staff. And yeah, Phoenix, man. It works out so well when you're able to just kind of assure yourself and being able to get that second bit of life and the AoE, the extra bit of lockdown. A hero similar fashion to Bristleback where they love the long-winded fights. You don't want to be dropping the egg and popping out and everyone's already gone, the damage has been done. You want to ensure that you can kind of draw things out a lot further. And well, looking to go with heavy burst here, Rave are going to pick up the Zeus. All right, so a lot of damage, and he can definitely add some extra impact from outside the bubble.
Yeah, the best thing against the Phoenix is to have heavy burst damage so that you don't even get to pop the egg off. The problem with Phoenix is that you're generally a pretty squishy hero, especially in the support role. So if you have something like a Zeus coming out and just lightning bolt like crazy, you're going to get a lot of kills in that Phoenix. And he might even not be able to get the Supernova off. Another thing about Phoenix is that Supernova actually costs a lot of mana. Your mana pool early on in the game is ridiculously low. So in the early levels, Phoenix might have a tough time, but for now, I really like Rave's draft. They could send Zeus mid. They'll probably. I think Chen is very good right now with the changes that are made to him. And I don't know if Rave have a Chen player, but picking up a Chen here is not bad because you're not going to get aggro tri-lane against, especially with a Lycan. They have a Tide Hunter. He's not going to be the best in that off lane. So they could get away with a Chen, but at the same time, they'll probably just pick up a standard support. Venomancer's banned out, and Tongfu, what do they need? Let's see. They have an offlane. They have a support Phoenix. They need a mid unless they send a Lycan mid or a safe laner. So they have a lot of options.
I'm feeling a lot of face rush coming out here from Tongfu. So Rave might need to consider some wave clear. They already got a good amount of that with Ember Spirit and now Zeus.
10
so
seconds
being
remaining.
able to prevent that face rush from coming your way certainly could prove to be a bit troublesome. But the Brew, which has surprisingly made his way
Radiant
through the early
team
portion of this
pick.
draft, is going to be denied, and they quickly respond, getting Invoker now picked
team
up. So
pick.
you get the crowd control if necessary with the Quas Wex. But on top of that, not really too much synergy with the easy global sun strikes. A formidable grab, a crowd pleaser. I can't hate on Invoker, certainly not.
I think he's definitely going Quaswex this game, like you talked about. Exhort is not very good. Sunstrike's this game not very good.
Unless you wanted to go extra Necrobook, extra push, I suppose, with Forge Spirits, but that's
yeah, but the
pretty
problem
all
with
in.
that is that your early game is so awful. You pretty much have to sit in lane and farm, and you're not going to get kills with Sunstrike because there's a Witch Doctor. And that's the only lockdown that Tongfu have right now. Like, there's no other disable coming out from Tongfu other than Cold Snap. So, like, stuns and disables, Tongfu, they have an aversion to them for whatever reason. They're just like, no, we don't want it. Meanwhile, Rior picks up the puck. Rave get their last pick going. Ninja Boogie Zeus. Okay, maybe a 4-position Zeus coming out from the side of Rave.
Yeah, interesting.
We'll see how it pans out.
Puck, man. That was the top pick over at Star Ladder. But my God, they could not make it perform well. I think TC was the only win with Puck.
Prepare for battle.
I'm going to tell you right now, Maut, I'm going to go with the Reconnect Perfect World is, doing Perfect World things. So I'm going to do the quick pop out, pop in, which I will take this moment. I didn't want to say at the start in fear that jinx myself, but now that that's not necessary, reminder to everyone that, of course, this tournament is taking place in Shanghai, and we're going through overseas in the Perfect World server and all those crazy firewalls and contraptions, and we can't only do so much plug pulling and adjusting, and sometimes things just kind of suffer. We'll get a laggy bump occasionally, which as you see now is totally good, and sometimes the in-game Dota audio might suffer. So I assure you my open mic is on, and everything should be right on my end, but if it's sounded a bit off, then well, there's not much we can do. But with that said, Maut, I'm in and underway, and I don't want to delay too much time here, so let's get some introductions out. No early aggression either coming out from each team. So with Rave on your dire side, we're going to have NB or Ninja Boogie, who we suspect playing the support Zeus here with already a couple of Tangos and Clarities on hand to spam out some spells. We got Cast, who's going to be playing your support Vengeful Spirit. Along the top, we got none other than Mr. Jo, probably the standout of the team. He's going to be playing your Ember Spirit. He's sporting those new sweet Divine Rapier cosmetics. Loving it. And back, we got Rio, who's going to be playing what looks like the mid lane Puck, and that will leave Chrissy on the off lane Void.
Yeah, and that'll be your lineup for Rave. On the other side for Tongfu, ooh, 9, playing your like an ooh, 9. He'll be heading mid, it looks like. To the top lane we go. Kian is going to be playing your Tidehunter. I can hear Elaine somewhere yelling at me because the pronunciation is wrong, but that's fine. I'm trying my best. Kabu's going to be in Witch Doctor down in the bottom lane of this trial. And we get LPC playing your Phoenix and Shin Q playing your Invoker. Lag comes out already. Good start, everybody. We did it.
It happens, you know. It happens. We had a couple of hiccups before, or yesterday rather, and a nice little girthy 20-minute pause. And sometimes, you know, it's there. It's a live LAN event. I'm sure they got some things they're working out. A tech's coming up behind, tapping them on the shoulder. They're going to work with some plugs. We're in the dark along with all of you, so. You know, take it as it is. But more on the actual event at hand here, so why don't I go ahead and take this moment. We could just look at our fancy schedule right here. Boom, we're going to pop that over. You can see the lead off the night. We got Tongfu versus Rave, and Maut's going to continue by my side. We get Cloud9 taking on Hyper Glory Team. I'm actually looking forward to that matchup for sure. And then after that, we got Hellraisers against Na'Vi, so that's pretty fun. We almost get a little flare of Starladder in that one. And then we go on, and we'll be having Blaze is going to come in temporary to join me for these middle couple of games. And then along the bottom, you see we finish out the night with Rave once more going against MVP Phoenix, a battle of the C teams, I guess. And Ryu Boris is going to help me take me home, I guess. And hopefully by that point, I haven't gone completely mad with all my casting. But
I want to give a shout out to you because I know this was difficult. We talked about scheduling earlier in the week, and I said, well, I might have some action for Dota Pin. I thought the games would finish today, and actually our last best of 3, or one of our last best of 3s, should be our last best of 3 is tomorrow with Moscow 5 versus NIP to figure out who actually is in the group stages, and that'll be a best of 3. That starts at 11 Eastern our time. So I pretty much was like, okay, if I do the middle 2-3 games for DAC, I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
Like I would have to stay up all night, or I'd have to take a very quick nap, and I would wake up being miserable or whatever. But shout out to you, and shout out to all the guys, the casters for DAC, to being so flexible. So good stuff there.
You're a trooper, man. We appreciate it, being able to come up. These hours are a bit crazy. I have absolutely 180 in my sleep schedule. I am going to bed at like noon or 1 p.m., waking up at like 7 p.m., and then it's time to cast.
It's like the TI4 qualifiers all over again. You go to bed and it's like light out still. You're like, what's happening? Like, somebody help me. I need an
Wake
adult.
up in the dark and you just feel like you're on another planet half the time.
It's really weird, but well, this event won't go that long, so hopefully we all survive throughout the entirety of it. And well, back into the game, Tongfu 1,000 pennants. We got a big Tongfu fan base here for Rave.
Wait, where are the Rave pennant boys at?
They
don't even have a pennant.
No.
What's
unfortunate.
That is unfortunate. You know, I'm sure there's a lot of Rave fans out there. At least I've seen them in the chat repping it up. They're getting real excited right now. They're repping their boy Jo, and the Chrissy Faceless Void seems to be a nice popular pickup right there.
Yeah, they love their Chrissy Faceless Void. And I'm excited to see how he does in this offense. This is not a tough lane to be in, but at the same time, they have, again, no disables. So he should live. Getting farm, that's a completely different story. We'll be able to get CS. That depends. Will Kabu pull? You know, how much harass are they going to put on Chrissy? I really don't know about this tri-lane bottom. Again, it's very difficult to kill Chrissy in the Faceless Void. So
the support Phoenix, though, you know, a lot of teams have been kind of being a bit flexible with the hero. I'm going to keep eyes on top lane here. They want some watermelon action right now. So, but support Phoenix seems a bit different. First time the hero came into the scene, it was ran as a support initially, and then teams have found a home for it more in the off lane. And even Funnick has played it very recently for Na'Vi. But as a support, I guess they'll add a crap ton of sustain and healing power with both him and the heal from Witch Doctor. So I imagine that once they try to deathball it up a bit down one of these lanes, they'll have so much healing power that all their summons and creeps and potential zookeeping strats are going to be able to really duke it out for long, long periods of time.
There's going to be so many crazy picks in this tournament. I was talking to Travel about this yesterday, and he was just like, yeah, I was talking about Strength Morph as a support.
Man, that is awesome.
He's like, well, look for that in DAC. I'm like, I actually am down for that. 4.5 second stun. A million-mile knockback, let's go.
Yeah, I went against a support Morphling recently, and it was that ridiculous. It is out of control. I mean, what do you do?
It's so difficult to deal
I mean,
with.
given that
you
if
just
he...
get stunned for 4.5 seconds, that's what you do.
And given that that's pretty much what he's got, and after that point, you're not really doing a lot else, he's just a hard support to take down, and he's elusive, and he's got the waveform to kind of get in real quick, and the stun, my god, it's a free Mirana arrow, and the cooldown is just so ridiculously short that you almost got like perma-lockdown with anyone else on your team, so... Anyways, yeah, I would love to see some more spicy pickups, and this is the time. I mean, we're only into the first match of the group stages, but these are all best of ones. This is the time where you want to do something a little bit funky, where you may think they have your number. They've done the research on paper, but being able to take them out of the comfort zone by getting something a bit different is what can get you a quick win. And sometimes the difference from making it out of the group stage is one win. Bottom lane, heavy harassment coming up from Chrissy. This is your solo offlane Faceless Void bullying the support Kabu. This is crazy.
Yeah, he's doing a nice job of harassing me. That's all he can do right now because the creep wave is under the tower, and Kabu is kind of pushing forward a bit. He popped the Buddha Restoration. I think he has a Tango or two as well, regenning up, but Ninja Boogie looking for maybe a snipe behind the tower, either on the courier or on a hero. LPC is the one currently in lane, as of course the Lycan go into the jungle. We have a courier flying out now, walking out, I should say, and this genuine crane. The Enlightened. He's got the bottle. He's running. He's got to take a dip into the jungle here, and he actually is just going to give the bottle up to U9.
Yeah.
U9. He's getting his bottle.
Potential was there. The little crane's going to live on. Ninja Boogie is already on the way out, heading himself back towards this top lane. And checking with the CS now. We'll throw that bad boy up. Ember Spirit leading out the front, 17-9. But let's talk about the offlaners a little bit. You got 4-1 in your Faceless Void, 3-0 in your Tidehunter. It's expected they're not going to get a lot of CS, but close enough to get the levels. You got level 4 now breached for Faceless Void, and Tidehunter is just about 3.5. So he does have the upper hand in being able to get nice and close here. As Chrissy continues to just bully them back, he'll be able to get that sweet XP.
So as it stands right now, the CS with Jo being in the lead is very, very solid. I mean, getting off to a good start is exactly what you need out of December Spirit. He hasn't missed too much CS, and he's not a hard hero to CS with, and this is why I like him in the safe lane, because in mid lane, you have a really susceptible time to getting harassed and ganked, and you can pump out the damage if you get levels, which obviously in that mid lane is good, but instead they put the puck there, which is probably even better, because he's actually right on point with this Lycan, who, by the way, is just jungling now. They just send him there without a stout shield, and they keep LPC mid, and he'll start getting some levels now as well. Bottom lane, Chrissy should be getting more room to farm now. He's 5 CS, so he's getting something, but level 4, at least he's not dying. He's actually has more experience than the Tidehunter, so that's really important. But.
So with their new positioning set up now on the side of Tongfu, pulling Lycan out and putting him in the jungle to find farm there, they seem to lack a bit of the map control. You see Rave get both runes right there at the 4-minute mark, and now they have eyes on top lane. Ninja Boogie stealthily trying to move on up, but Tidehunter is playing extra safe and pulling back. He's just going to have to accept the fact that he's not going to get a lot. His job is just to kind of build up those levels little by little. How about the stacks, though? They really haven't even stacked anything up for him either, so that's a bit interesting. So it might be a slow start here for your Tidehunter on trying to find anything, let alone arcanes into that Blink Dagger. It might be stalled a bit. Speaking of stalls, though, we are going to be greeted with another pause, but it's interesting how they kind of rotated this around. I guess they just want to put a little bit of farm priority on the Phoenix. I'm just curious to see how they're going to utilize this Phoenix. You know, some teams have been going with the one more support and then having just 4 kind of cores on the team, or whether it's a jungle axe or a jungle anyone. So.
Yeah, that seems to be the case. It's almost like whoever has the more cores sometimes wins the game. But in this situation, we see a lot of Phoenixes, especially, and this is a good point. He'll probably get Tranquil's Urn and maybe a Midas. He might even get Midas before the Urn. I've seen, well, at least that's how it is in the West. Even support Phoenixes always go for that Midas in the West. In the East, I'm not sure what Tongfu want to do here. I don't know their build for LPC, but yeah, they're going to put him into the mid. They're going to put the Lycan into the jungle, and I think that's just because he can't really stand up to Rior. Rior had a really big CS lead. He was harassing really well early on into the laning matchup, and I don't know. We'll see how it pans out. Meanwhile, bottom lane, the side lane invoker, KotLGuy, has 23 CS, so he's doing pretty well. He's rushing, actually, I don't know, he has 1,400 gold saved up, and you don't generally see Midas on a KotLGuy invoker, but he might go for it anyways. We'll see.
Yeah, typically, you want to get a hold of that Orchid in the same fashion as like a Storm Spirit would, and just go around and start taking names, if possible, being able to be that crowd controller and creating space for potentially whoever you want, which in this case will be the Lycan. Because given they're on the Radiant side, it's not going to be as easy for Lycan to kind of stealth himself into a Roche for an early Aegis. He's got to take a little bit more time to itemize before he feels comfortable doing something like that, where he can get it done nice and snappy. So it's a slow start. We're about 5 minutes in, yet to shed any blood, but very methodical coming out from both teams.
Yeah, this is just a farming game, and it'll continue to be so because there's no aggro tri-lanes coming out, and the heroes they have in the offlane aren't really kill heroes. There's like no Centaur. Faces one, maybe when he gets Chronosphere, can start putting aggression on, but then Kabu and Jin Q could probably just get kills. So, yeah, like you mentioned, methodical game to start out. We won't see any real aggression until like Rior gets his Blink Dagger, or you start seeing the Invoker rotating and getting that crowd control going like you were talking about. Yeah, this is just going to be farm central for a long time. I don't see anything happening anytime soon.
Very passive play from both sides. We saw a smoke there on the Vengeful Spirit, but she was very quick to pull off from her initial attempt. Now she's trying to get some eyes to maybe see who is near this mid lane. Right now it's going to be U9 moving back, so we'll see if there's an opportunity to nab him on up. But he is level 6 now, so all he has to do is quickly pull out the shapeshift and he can hightail it out of there. So the amount of lockdown is very crucial. They do have the coil, so this is a long plotting process right here. But at a big stage like this, the DAC, execution is the utmost importance, especially for something like a First Blood. Sets the tempo of the game.
We're going to see some epic play for the First Blood. It's going to be ridiculous. It's going to take like 2 minutes. A huge fight's going to break out. Or it just might happen down bottom. Tornado EMP. Chissy able to time walk away. Just kidding. No First Blood coming out yet. And Chrissy, excuse me, not Chissy, is able to time walk away just in time and be just fine. So
you see it, the first flirting process right there. They kind of just say hi to each other and do a little bit of that harass, but no bloodshed quite yet. Just kind of showing them that we're here. You better respect us. J.O.'s been very patiently farming top lane, though. He's got 41 and 20 CS, still the top right now. Him and the Puck getting the most out of this early laning phase. And it looks like Puck is going to be saving what potentially could be straight for the early Blink rush. He's got nursed about 1,200 gold, but no opportunities to really take advantage of the Dream Coil, and it just feels like both teams respecting each other for now, that they'll take this time to farm up, and maybe they're both confident that they have the better mid-game period.
I think for Rave, because they have the Zeus support, they have a bit more damage, but the lockdown from Tornado EMP can't be denied, and even with the Ravage as well. So it really comes down to who's having the better time in lane. And as it stands right now, the Dire supports are pretty under-leveled because they've been using this dual lane bottom. They've been putting LPC mid, and then obviously the Lycan in the jungle. So as it stands now, the lead is kind of in favor of Tongfu because of the laning status. And that's on Rave to get something going. It's pretty much on them to be able to take a fight and actually stop them from getting farmed in this jungle, shut down the Lycan. And if he continues to farm like this, it's going to be difficult for Rave to do much because he'll be just able to push like crazy. So
kind of have eyes here for Chrissy, who does have the Chrono, but if he gets caught by an EMP, that Chrono ain't going to be happening. So does have to watch out for maybe a lingering coconut that could catch him off guard. Flirts a bit here, but still, now Lycan smoked up. He's thinking about going for Roche right now.
Ooh, Dream Coil on Kian here. He's in trouble, actually. Waiting Rift. First Blood. He broke the coil. He waited. He didn't wait long enough, though. Now the Supernova's going to go. Rior and Cass actually have to back away. Rior taking a lot of damage. Phase shifts the last proc. He gets a regen with based Ice Frog, and he's going to live. Well, maybe he won't.
He has to orb the hell out of there. Chase down from that bird, even after regen, he's down to about a third life. We'll have to bottle it on up. So. Very nice catch right there. They anticipate Tidehunter doing those stacks. They got the vision up there to get it done. Now top lane. Tension as they rotate on over. Ninja Boogie, you're not going anywhere. Pops out the Ravage to take down the Zeus. Now Tongfu get themselves on the board. We had waited through the slow start, but it doesn't stop. Bottom lane, Chrissy gets hit with the EMP, and now they go forward with the Cold Snap. Long ball, Coconut going to connect, and one more right click should do it. Tongfu grab another one there on the bottom lane.
He salved, and the first real tick of the salve didn't go when he was getting hit up with that last right click. How unfortunate. And top lane, that's one of those situations where you're like, as the Zeus, you're like, yeah, I'm dead. I'm going to die here, even if I TP out. So 2 quick counter kills coming up from Tongfu to get them back in the game. Killing Chrissy in that offlane is pretty big MP coming out from the Invoker. So 2 quick kills, and the Ravage expended for that kill top lane. Actually, Kian, look at his mana, or rather, his gold, I should say. Not his mana, that's the wrong thing. He's got 1,400 gold currently. Getting closer and closer to that Blink Dagger. Speaking of Blink, Puck has one already, and they're going to smoke up, and they're going to head towards the bottom jungle, see if they can find that Lycan, or maybe better yet, the Invoker. But
he was hiding that Blink on the Courier, too, while he was farming under the tower, just to make sure they didn't know he already got it. Now he's wants to make sure that his first Blink debut is with a sweet kill here. He's got the coil at the ready, and they even have Chrissy with the Chronosphere. This is a formula for what should be a swift team fight by Rave, but they got to do it quick. There's still a tier 1 to TP to.
Oh, Chrissy. He pulled. The smoke didn't break, but this might be blown up.
Yeah, this is awkward a bit. Now it does pull the awkward it does pull it all the way back, closer to the arms here of Rave. So they're getting ready for a flank play.
They're going to try to go on him. He's baiting this. He's baiting this. They're going to go in. The EMP's going to fly. Wave of Terror, Lucy Orb. And he's thinking about jumping in. There's going to be the blink. He can't get the waiting rifts off. The silence not there. He's able to just ghost walk away. They have no vision. And an awkward gank that actually doesn't really need anything. That's weird.
Very unfortunate there. Uh-oh, Phoenix makes the dive, goes into egg mode, and Zeus has to run on out of there. Meanwhile, the coil does get dropped. They're making a go onto Lycan. And here comes Jo. He's able to get in there and get that kill. U9 does go down, but here comes reinforcements. Swifting on through. It's going to be Cast here. Hasted up, throws out the magic missile. Gets the bird. The bird trying to fly on home. Healing up very nicely, though. Icarus dive is not at the ready here. 25 more seconds, but he is closer to his allies. Jo, though, they're feeling persistent. Keeps moving in, gets the chains, a right click, and the Zeus ult helps finish off that Phoenix. So now, Jo, can he get away? Scot-free, though. The stun's going to be there, and he's got 5 more seconds for the Remnant. There goes the Tornado. Ravage connects as well, and they take down Jo in exchange. A tit for a tat seems to be the motto of this game so far as they take it back and forth.
Yeah, that was huge for them to get U9, but then rotating and they just dove too deep. That Phoenix kill is not worth it. And Keon Tidehunter just had his Ravage come off cooldown. He TP's bottom, gets the kill. The Zeus ult really actually just got skilled by Ninja Boogie in that mid lane. He waited around, got some experience, then popped the Zeus ult at the last second, right when they're going to get that kill onto the Phoenix. But like you said, tit for tat. Lots of trades happening. Now the Blake Dagger done for the Tidehunter. Won't really get involved with that until the Ravage is up. But as far as the graphs are concerned, somewhat even game. 500 net worth advantage for Tongfu. That's like nothing at this point. 2,000 experience lead. That's the better thing for Tongfu at this point. So, all right.
They know that Lycan's nearby, farming up those Ancients, still having that ward, that extra bit of vision. They had a bit of a rotation over here, but they'll decide to pull back. Do you want to put a side note, everyone? I know that the in-game spectator camera is all flubbed up. That is a perfect world issue as well, and nothing I can fix. Obviously, I can go in and out of showcase mode here, but with those perfect world problems and, well, a pause. How ironic.
Yes! All right, excellent.
You know, making the best of what we got. This is not something I could just, let me go ahead and adjust my Dota TV setting to put the camera back. No, that's... What you see is supposed to be what you get even inside Dota TV. But pause is going to be brief, which is nice. And Rave, who are smoked up now, they go into enemy territory and they're looking for vengeance. Ooh, right behind him, the smoke's going to be popped. It's a Witch Doctor. And you might have even seen that ward go down, but they get off the wave and the magic missile. There's the chains. Holy Toledo, that's like a Three Musketeers move as he just dashes them all forward. Tornado flies will miss onto Jo. No Ravage from this time, but the bird flies on forward. Kaka! Puts out the egg, and now Jo will go down. Another trade. This time, Rave are going to come up on the worst end of it.
I was going to ask if you thought that triple remnant was worth it, but I think the answer was right when he got killed. And that's what happens when you use all 3 remnants to get a kill. First of all, you didn't need that. You just needed at least 1 remnant. That's all you really needed. The double remnant is probably fine as well. Triple remnant is probably a bit too much. And because he throws out 3 remnants, he dies. He gets chased down. He thinks, okay, there's nobody here near in the vicinity to kill me. And then all of a sudden, like 3 heroes show up and he just gets ganked. So a bit unfortunate. Again, a trade that's not worth it. Jo's dying too much. He's trying to get too much done with this Ember. He needs to sit back and maybe just farm a bit more. It's fine if he gets kills, but just relax. Just go easy, guys.
Take it easy. Let's breathe, right? This is just game match number 1. Yeah. But it just seems that Tongfu have the game sense to know when there's a lingering dark presence, and they have to make sure they have their TPs at the rate to rotate. Now they're going mid lane, though. Jump in, Ravage with the blink, and your puck does get off the shift in the nick of time. Vengeful Spirit not going to be as lucky. They end up getting both. A nice 2-man takedown mid lane for Tongfu as they'll begin to open up on that tier 1 tower. Bottom lane, though, they're looking for Invoker. Jin is going to be able to get away here. They pop out the dust with the Ghost Walk, and now Chrissy comes in and puts out the nice chrono to get him on just the cusp of that bubble. So they end up trading 1 for 1, and it looks like they'll trade tower for tower. Actually, that was 2 for 1, not a 1 for 1. So Tongfu's still getting a little bit of the better here. They do force out the glyph, but they do not have the TPs to rotate.
Yeah, the mid-lane tower is pretty big for Tongfu. That allows them easy access to the jungle. They put up a Radiant Observer, not into the high ground. That's a pretty common D-ward spot, so they put it to the low ground instead, which is a very, very good spot. The safe lane tower that Rave gets is also pretty important, but I think they also need that mid tower to be able to also access the jungle of Tongfu. So Now you have Tongfu, they have a bit more, and especially with Chronosphere down, they can farm a bit more aggressively. U9 has his Vlads completed as well as his level 2 Shapeshift. What else is going on here? And you will see the Invoker going for the casual, just standard Oblivion Staff into Orchid. Very standard Quaswex build. That'll be huge. Silence up against the Faceless Void, and the Puck is very, very strong this game. So yeah, if they can get some Orchid kills and then transition that into towers and team fights, they'll have a pretty good chance at taking this game.
And U9 is doing such a nice job just scouting out with these wolves. He constantly has them out tailing this Rave squad, so there's going to be no sort of surprises coming their way. Even here, he gets the quick D ward and knows that there's no nearby threat with just that constant vision. So maybe even getting hold of a gem at some point would certainly help out being able to control the map even more for Rave. Now they will smoke up, however, and they beeline it towards the bottom lane, but Invoker's already out, so they will have to try to divert to elsewhere if they want to find anything. But for now, it's Tongfu who just kind of make the most of the map. They seem to be getting the most of the farm, which what started as Jo and Puck, or sorry, Rio was able to get the top two. Now it's quickly the other way. Invoker and Lycan are now top of the net worth.
Yeah, they've had a lot of room to work with, and the mistakes coming out from Rave have given them a lot of gold. Just really good counter initiations from Tongfu, and the Lycan's going to be a force to be reckoned with. They didn't shut him down early when he was in the jungle. They got one kill on him when he made a mistake mid pushing into that tier 1 tower. His Necrobook's going to be a bit late because a lot of the farm he did get was in the jungle, but he still is having a pretty good time. And Tongfu are just going to keep the pressure up. They have Ravage again with Blink. LPC has his Supernova, and they're going to try to find a kill, and they're going to find it on Rior if they can get something going. They don't have the silence yet with the Invoker, but they might just Blink Ravage. Yep, there they go. They jump right on Rior, the Sunray goes, the cask, and goodbye.
That's
nice. He blows up that poor Buck.
That's just a slaughter. I mean, everyone is missing off the map. Maybe Puck feeling comfortable being as elusive a hero as Puck is, thinking he'll be able to get away, but Tongfu won't hesitate on bringing down some serious pain and lockdown with that Ravage to lead things off. There's no chance for that Puck to go away, so Rave maybe need to consider to employ more of a buddy-buddy system so they don't get caught out on their own. Not even a Puck is going to be safe. And with Tongfu being able to get picks like that, they can just follow it up beautifully with an objective takedown there, getting a tier 1. It's just seeming like a lot of clean execution coming out from Tongfu, whereas Rave, we've already seen a kind of a misgank here, an overdive there. You know, it's a little wishy-washy.
Yeah, that was, honestly, a lot of people, especially people that are new to Dota, kind of question whether or not a Ravage for a solo hero like that is worth it. It certainly is early on in this game because, I mean, actually, this fight, though, Rave are trying to take advantage of this, and this is exactly what they need to do. Dust is going to go mid lane onto U9. They actually don't get the Invoker, and now they actually have to back away. But the threat of Invoker's skill set is actually just so much that they have to leave. And Jo actually barely gets out. The Casper's about to go, and he's still in trouble. There's going to be the Ghost Walk. Jo has no mana left. He can't run it away. Cold Snap, he does get the chains off. And he actually, with the Flame Guard, stays alive. Flaming Spirit's not doing anything. There's the magic missile in the middle of the Icarus dive, the Chronosphere. And Chrissy actually, oh, Kabu forgot about the Death Ward changing through it right into the Chronosphere. He dies immediately. Dreamcoil onto U9 and Rave. They're taking it to him now. They know that Ravage is down. This is the perfect opportunity for it. They get 3 kills. Big Chronosphere coming out from Chrissy. Big offlane Void plays. A big team fight going their way. Ooh.
No, it was actually really well played. And I mean, the caster curse could be real at that moment. Tongfu thought about the fact that they could have had an easy kill on Jo, but they didn't anticipate Rave were right there at the ready. Faceless Void missing, was able to quickly come in, get the Chrono lockdown. That bird was not going to be hatching from any egg. Take him down, and like you said, with that change, you can't just plop that ward anywhere. You got to make sure on the outside of the Chrono now, and that's an ult wasted, and quickly things go very, very well for Rave. That gets them right back into this game now. They step on out. They itemize even further. It looks like Puck's going to be able to throw together a Yules, which certainly will help being that extra bit elusive. Chrissy now can kind of build off of his Mask of Madness and what looks like for the Mjolnir, or Maelstrom, along the way. So, no, not really necessary for a BKB, I guess, from his side. I guess he's right. As long as he makes sure he traps the Tidehunter, I suppose.
Yeah. The Tide is, well, yeah, those are the two biggest. I think actually more so than anything else is the Invoker, especially because right now, though, BKBs are going to be super necessary eventually in this game, but I think for right now, they're probably okay. The Maelstrom's got to come out. I think the next item for Chrissy is probably a BKB, but I think as far as the Death Ward goes, maybe he got it down, like he put it down before the Chrono got off, and then it just kind of, it took a long time. I'm not really sure, but Yeah, either way, that's just a really solid fight. And because of that, look at the graph now. The net worth graph, which was only 2,000, which is not that much still. It swings all the way back down to even. And that's not a pretty big indication of how this game's going to go, but it will give a lot of items towards the side of Rave, which you already talked about. And so now Tongfu need to kind of just slow down and say, listen, now we need to farm up. Now we need to be the ones that are being a bit more patient. Wait for Ravage to be up, which it currently is at about 148 seconds. He just used it. Did he use the top? He just used that Ravage, and he didn't get anybody. Did he use an illusion? What happened with that Ravage? Oh, God, now they know it's down.
He was dancing with Puck a bit earlier, but I don't know what he was thinking to maybe go for a Ravage Connect. We won't catch that because it was such a surprise, but the coil's going to snap on the big bad Wolfu 9. The bash is there once, and the zap comes down from the heavens above, and it's going to be Ninja Boogie getting that kill. Now the egg flying out. Chrissy trying to get away. Chomped down from the ankles with the Necro Book. He will not make it out. And now Rave scattered like cockroaches to walk away with what winnings they got there. But Tongfu not going to let him go so easily. Now they get a hold of Jo with the silence of the cold snap, but Invoker now steps away, gets the urge to try to heal on up. Slide of Fist not going to connect. He's still good walking away here, but they get the bird. With that, Yules holds him in place. The chain's going to go on out, and they slice him and dice him. Double grab right there for Rave. They make it a 2-for-1 in what has to be an extremely long-winded fight. While all the meanwhile, Tidehunter without his Ravage will farm the top lane.
The Fist Switch tried to get the Chrono off onto the Lycan, but he actually had 5 mana less than he needed because he had popped the Mask of Madness beforehand, and even with Entrance, he still couldn't get the mana for it. And then he got mana burned from the Necro unit, and then he just died to that to Supernova. And with him up, they easily get all 3 of those kills that they could have gotten in the later stages of the fight. The Sleight of Fist, Searing Chains missed on a couple of those heroes like the Vengeful Spirit, but they get the bird nonetheless, like we talked about. And they made a really good job of making sure the Ravage was expended for a kill or 2. They did a really nice job of fighting and making sure that they get kills when that's down. So for Rave, again, they're really becoming solid with these fights around Ravage, around the big team fight ultimates coming up from Tongfu, and they just need to keep that going. Jo now has his Battle Fury. He actually picked that up a minute and a half ago. So he's doing really well. We'll see what next item he goes for, and he's the most. He's got the most net worth in the game currently. So
nice back and forth game here, being developed before us as we go past the 20-minute mark now into the development of this mid game. And Tongfu, they're prepared to take this more slow. They do need to wait and build around those Ravages and big ultimates to kind of make their big impact in these team fights, and just wait it out till U9 is ready to really develop as a Lycan. He's got Necro level 2, so soon enough they'll be able to have all the siege power they want. If they have to wait and just take one good fight or one good pick with just that one Ravage, that's more than enough for them to easily push out a tower or 2, just with the amount of face rush they really got building on their teams. So
yeah,
they're happy to play it slow and methodical like that. Rave might just need to spice it up a bit more. Given that you have great wave clear, however, with both Zeus and Jo, who now has that cleave power on the
yeah, this is right now a game that could easily turn in favor of Raven. We talked about slowing it down for Tongfu. One thing that they could do, though, is get this Invoker, have him Ghost Walk. He's doing that a lot now, but he's not heading to the enemy jungle with, like, say, another hero. They don't necessarily have the global strat for that to work out, but maybe just get another hero with him and just try to find kills. It's unfortunate that they can't really find anything as of yet for the Invoker. He's just walking around Ghost Walked, and Roshan does not seem to be, you know, an objective that anybody is taking anytime soon. Maybe they go for it with the Void with Mask of Madness if they can time walk in, but I don't see Tongfu going for it unless they smoke into it number 1, or if they can get a pick off the back end of it or into it. So
you know, this is the thing why we don't really see Lycan a whole lot on the Radiant side. Yeah, they moved the pit given, and it does feel a bit more fair than what it once was. It was a really big advantage for having Dire's side. That's why typically every team during TI4, when they won the coin flip, were like, Dire, just Dire, please, we'll take Dire.
Yep.
You know, but things have been changed a bit, but you can just still see it's just not quite as comfortable to be able to sneak into that pit when you're on the Radiant side, having to force yourself across a very wide spread of the map where there's going to be wards just kind of anywhere. So for now, they have to wait. They can de-ward when they get their Necro 3, and then they can create the space they want. Now it's the time, use that Ravage, get in there, get a fight, get maybe a tier 2, fall back, get the Roche, and next thing you know, you're way out in the head. So that seems to be the game plan for now for Tongfu.
Really good game since for Rave. They see Kian mid on the Tidehunter, and they just back up. They know that they've been smoked on before, and they don't want to get caught again. And I'm not sure what happened with the Tide and why he's the one that's either baiting or just not smoked up. But they're going to try to find a kill. Look at Rave's positioning. And Ninja Boogie is very, very close to the right side of the tower. Now they're even just backing away. Heading over to the Roche pit, and look how much space this gives Rior bottom and top lane Chrissy. Like, they're wasting a lot of time here.
Yeah.
But Tongfu, they're not going to be deterred. They're trying to take this tower, this tier 2. They want it, damn it. They want it to be theirs.
This is a big thing right now for Rave. It's forcing Tongfu to just wait. Eventually, Tongfu feels like they have to defend this tower at some point, right? Or they're going to hand it over easy. The glyph to make him sweat it out even more, but maybe by this point, they just waited so long for it that they might have lost a bit from it. And here we go, Jo moves in now. They get the change, Unite needs a lot of damage, has to run himself out of there. The Ravage will fly through, does connect on Chrissy, who tries to get the void. Bubble off, does connect on 3. Here comes Rio walking in with his puck, able to burst down 2. Now they go for Kion, they take him down. It's a 3-for-1 trade, only Ninja Boogie down on the side of Rave. Big fight for them. They wait very patiently for that kind of opportunity that pays off. And it doesn't stop there. They get the Yules. They want the bird. Come here, buddy. And they'll make rotisserie chicken out of that one. 4-for-1 trade, and now they are the ones who are going to move in to take the Roche.
That was so patient from them, like you talked about. They're like, okay, listen, you can have this tier 2 tower, but we're going to force out a TP. They force out the TP from the Invoker, and they're like, let's fight 5 versus 4. I can do math, and I think that's probably a better trade for us. They get in, the Death Ward comes out, gets canceled immediately like Chrissy, and the ultimate coming out, and they just destroy. And after the Shapeshifter came out from Lycan, he should have left. They tried to save their team, and they said, go, 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 and all they did was die. Rave, they pick it up, they get the Aegis, they get the team fight, and now they are in a pretty solid command of this game with a 2,000 net worth lead, so.
I gotta say, this is pretty signature Rave from what I was checking out. It was even said in the pre-show. They're a team that can really get the upper hand in a lot of these fights. The question becomes, can they hold it? They've been known to kind of buckle here and there at times when they feel like they have the game in their grasp, and all they simply have to do is kind of hurl themselves in and get the job done. But that's where a game could be at its hardest, being able to break those kind of nerves and secure this one, put a lid on it. Sometimes the lid is broken, but
Jo is no stranger to throwing. He was on a roster full of throwy people.
There might be a website after that team.
There could be. You might want to check it out. I think it might be called WhenDidEgyptThrowLast.com. Rest in peace to that website. But yeah, Jo is, again, he's no stranger. But this is a new team. It's a new time for him, and they've already got this lead. And like you talked about, all they have to do really now is play a bit aggressively, make sure this Lycan doesn't split push them to death. And honestly, the team that doesn't have the Lycan is split pushing better than the team that does. Rave are using the map a lot more efficiently than that of Tongfu. Now the BKB comes out for the Faceless Void. This is what we were talking about earlier. And now no Ravage, no Invoker ability is going to become a problem for him. He's going to be able to get off all these Chronospheres and just be able to dominate these team fights.
Well, I do have to say, Tyler's throwing together some respectable farm. They're prioritizing the farm on him so he can get not just 1, but 2 Ravages, finishing out that Refresher, which he already has the Oblivion staff for, and he's getting pretty close to that Perseverance. That would simply help, because if they already have to put so much behind just the 1 Ravage, and it doesn't even end up working out for him, being fruitful, then they run into a problem. So getting that second Ravage seems to be of the utmost importance for them, because Tongfu at this point are, well, I don't want to say their backs are all the way against the wall, but they are in a position which they probably were not expecting to be here against this team like Rave. So.
I think they're feeling uncomfortable, to say the least. They certainly aren't in a position where this game's over, but if they lose another fight like that, they are in a very, very rough position, to say the least, and they might even lose a lot more than just tier 2. So for Rave, it really comes down to using this Chronospheres effectively, and just keep playing the way they're playing. There's no reason to stop what they're doing at this point. And I gotta say, this Zeus pick, man, we haven't talked about it really, but Ninja Boogie has been putting in work, dude. This guy's been doing really good job. Ulting, lightning bolt damage, it's ridiculous how much he can do in these team fights.
Tongfu recognized that. That's why we got a pipe being built up right now on Phoenix. They recognize the burst potential coming out from Rave, and they want to try to nerf that as quickly as possible. So, Bird already not going to be eating quite as much, but BC plans on being able to help out not just himself, but his whole team with that. So we'll see how much of a strong defense they can put up here, because they could be quickly trying to defend from the high ground if Rave kind of pick up the tempo here in the next few moments, because they are itemizing pretty well here. Now Chrissy, who does have his BKB at a full 10 seconds, and you see the Agnums now being picked up on your puck.
This is such a good pickup this game against a Lycanthrope, and even against an Invoker with Ghost Walk, and actually also against the Phoenix too. Like, this is so good. I think the stun duration after you break the coil is like 4.5 seconds. No, break stun duration 3 seconds. Sorry, it's not the No, Scepter breaks stun duration, 4.5 seconds.
Whoa.
And they're going to find Unai. They're going to coil him probably. Magic Missile first. Great tornado comes in. Now the coil goes through. They force-step him out, but that might have been a mistake. They need a lightning bolt. They get it as well. Goodbye, Unai. He's not saying ooh anymore. Oh, the Eul's Reor. He gets off on ZQ. He's in some trouble. Waiting Rift's available in 6 seconds. The loser up's there, but they don't have a team facing and following after him. ZQ's going to fall anyways. Reor is just playing out of his mind. Mid lane, Jo is actually finding Cabo as well. Back mid we go. From charge pop, sleight of fist, not enough damage. He has to be careful. BKB's available. He might pop it off. There's the remnant going Death Ward, just a little bit too late. Jo has Aegis, by the way. He should still be fine. Pops it off. He gets it off before his Aegis. The BKB, that is. Now the Chrono comes in. Chrissy says, how do you do, buddy? Kian gets blown the hell up. 3 down now for the side of Tongfu all day. And Rave, this is their game now. They say, this is our game. We're taking this. Let's go.
Beautifully done. That phase shift dodges out the tornado there in the top lane and allows him to get that setup and that coil onto the lycanthrope, and from there they take names. They move on through. Yules to catch out the Invoker. He's not going anywhere, and that prompts Jo to make the jump on the mid lane. And with Faceless Void incoming, he kind of baits him a little further out, and he feels strong enough to pop his BKB and take the fight. And sure enough, they slash another one down. 17-9 for Rave, and they get the tier 2. We got an upset in the making here. As we get ready to develop into the late game, Tongfu need to think about what plan B is going to be at this point.
Plan B is not much, honestly. A Lycan behind can still do work, but he's going BKB. He's forced into a position where he's not going Basher, he's not going Assault Trust, where he'll have extra damage. And this is becoming very difficult. Jo continues to get farm. He uses his BKB. He doesn't even lose the Aegis, I don't believe. It's gone now. And he's already back to the 2,000 gold after this BKB, after this Battle Fury. Not to mention his team's items. This is difficult, man. I don't know how Tom can get back to this game. I don't know if there still is that win condition for them.
We'll see. There's always a split push. That small bit of rat that like it could always try to pull out, but you got to make sure you're in full map control and you're able to feel confident enough to stride yourself down. Now maybe doing a little bit of that fisherman's line tactic up here. They got Unai way out in front and maybe seeing if someone's going to take the bait and bite, but little they know Rave is nowhere near. They're not even in the same pond or lake. They're down the bottom right now doing their own bit of split push. They'd love to get their own tier 2, and if they make a trade happen, they might be just comfortable with that. Jo already dishes out his escape line right there with his remnant, and he'll kind of scout out this top lane, but if there's enough lockdown, he could be in trouble.
If they fall for this, dude. Rave, they know this is happening, and like the remnant's gonna come out, and like they've seen this play like 3 or 4 times this game from Tongfu. There's no reason to get caught by it again, or even get caught at all for that matter. And because this is happening, they're like, okay, we're just gonna take the tier 2 bottom, and they'll probably bring heroes up in force to try to defend this, but they also just keep split pushing bottom with Chrissy. Like this is not an issue at all. They make the right decision. They defend top with like a hero. They push bottom and get the tier 2 tower. Rave are making all the right plays here.
It feels like Tongfu are just waiting and waiting and expecting something to kind of be delivered to them for an opportunity, and they're not getting that opportunity. And now they're actually forced back. They didn't really accomplish much in that top lane except being the bodyguards for Lycan to just casually farm the lane. And Rave, well, they get that farm still in Jo as he goes through his jungle and even pushing back that top lane, and they get a tier 1 bottom. So Rave are just getting the most out of the map as it stands right now, even taking away Tongfu's jungle farm. This is putting Tongfu in such a restricted position that they have to hand over what little farm they got to their Lycan, and everyone else is just going to have to be starved for some scraps here and there.
Radiant's top tower is under
this is
attack.
a point where if you had gotten right Sam Phoenix, you might be in a somewhat better position, but I mean, at that point, I don't know if the game lasts long enough for that Midas to actually kick in.
Top tower is
I
under
mean,
attack.
Death Ward, Aghanim Scepter might be unsuited for Kabu, but the problem is with that, like, it gets canceled like 99% of the time in these plays. So it really comes down to the Invoker and the Tidehunter having a big impact. But again, now the BKBs are out for Rave, and they're long duration BKBs as well, so they have to survive off the scraps of the Lycan and his right click alone. That seems to be the case. And that's why this game's win condition for Tongfu seems pretty much abysmal.
So we'll see here. Rave maybe just really slow playing this one. They scout out that Roche. And they're happy to wait. They feel like they're full in control. Tongfu are kind of more nervous, walking on eggshells by their base before they can really overextend themselves. Phoenix has taken the first step by picking up the gem to try to take some of their homeland back and being able to go outside the front lines. But for now, Rave are just getting so much. Their already net worth lead is quickly up to 12K gold. I think the going down the docket here, or the agenda rather for Rave, is just get that extra life, push into the base, slow siege little by little, and if we catch him out of bounds, we can get a good jump in chrono to kind of set up our own plays.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, there's no hurry in Rave step at this point. It's just time to relax and farm up. They're getting kind of cheeky. Like, Chrissy will be farming in the jungle, and Jay will just come and slide a fish, just creep camp, and it'll be like, what? Why? Don't be a jerk. It's your own farm. But Jay is actually pretty close to his data list, so I think at this point, like you said, it's farm up. That is an interesting pickup. Going for the Aghanim Scepter this early on into the game. He doesn't even have his level 17 yet for the Invoke. He wants to be able to get all these spells off, and he only has level 2 Exhort. I'm not sure about this. I'd rather see like a Hex instead, but I guess you already have the Orchid. I think this is an okay pickup, I suppose, but I don't know how much he's going to do again because of these BKBs. So.
Yeah, these are pretty fresh BKBs. I mean, we haven't seen a lot of engagements this game where you have to really pop your BKB over and over again. So you're going into the supposed late game of this one with some full 10-second BKB, mind you, on Faceless Void, and JO's got, what, 9 seconds? So they have plenty of duration from that magic immunity. So being able to take full advantage of that Agnums is going to require some patience and good timing to wait out those BKBs. But speaking of patience and waiting out, they wait out for that Roche. He comes back to life. He's like, hey, oh, you're gonna kill me already. I just got back. Fine.
Just got home.
Fine.
Please, I wanted to settle in.
Have my age. Whatever. Leave litter for all I care in my little Roche apartment. I know you will.
Scrolls like crumpled up in the corner. Sunstroke comes out a bit late. They're just demolishing his house, this poor guy. But
yeah, you're welcome. See ya.
Roche is gonna go back on his vacation. He just got back home from Florida. He says, I'm back. I'm out of here. See you later. But for Tongfu, they don't have the same luxury for their BKBs because of Chronosphere. And even Swap to a certain extent. And even the Axe coming up for the puck. Like, that luxury of the BKBs for Rave doesn't exist on Tongfu's side of the river. So, yeah,
I better be
very,
careful
very
here.
tough.
If he's spotted in lane, okay, he does TP out. I mean, Puck's nearby. He'll be in there quicker than a blink of an eye and get you into Yules. But they're actually dancing around inside the base right here, creating a little bit of space for Chrissy now. Get on in there and dish out some right-click damage. He's got that Manta on the Void, and he'll be able to do a little bit of extra split push power here. And it looks like Rave are dressing up, putting their suits on for a nice formal push down here. Only the 3 of them really committed for this one, while the other 2, here, Ninja, Boogie, and Rio, are going to be pushing out top lane a bit. But I guess they're kind of, you know, acting, as I always say, the shepherds, and being able to corral the Tongfu sheep back into their fence line and not really anywhere out comfortable.
There's 2 plays you can make as Tongfu when this kind of thing happens, when they're being herded into their base. Number 1 is you could try to fight either with a wrap around Smoke Gank or just running at them with like a Tide Ravage and hopefully get the better option. Or you could sit and essentially wait for your doom as the rest of the 5 heroes congregate and just push into your base. I think they could have done the former and might have had some success with it, but if they do the latter, then it's almost certainly going to be them in some trouble. I don't want to say they'll lose, but it's going to be very difficult for them to be able to take a fight like that. I mean, look, Jail's up on the high ground. This is a perfect time to go for a kill, even with an Aegis. Just try something. I know there's a swap from Avenge, but like you have to make something happen. Meanwhile, the Trinity Tower top lane's falling. Now they will go for the Tornado EMP and just Remnants out, so alright. Something.
They are spreading them thin, making them really... They're putting their decision-making to the test right now as far as where they need to go, where they need to defend, and this is where you really test out your team's communication and chemistry as far as where is the right time to commit to get the best out of a situation like this when you're being really invaded from all fronts. So Rave are just kind of doing the slow game that you see time and time again because they are in full control. Ever since that huge, devastating fight, they have been very patient and playing this very smart.
Yeah, and I mean, if Rave are the ones that get their initiation off, I don't really see Tongfu being able to stand up to it if they get it off in their terms, that is. But this isn't an easy team to push into, luckily, because of Tornado EMP. They can just keep doing that. But now those spells are on cooldown. They'll head top. Chris will lead the way.
Radiant's top tower
He doesn't have Aegis. Jail's the one that does. Now they're going to get some vision. The Chronosphere is going to go on to 2. This might be the beginning of the end. Tion is going to fall. He has buyback. He has to use it immediately. Both heroes will buy back as they lose the Invoker as well. Supernova getting right-click down. He's going to fall. Back into the praise. Ooh, 90s. Chrissy getting right-click. Put the time walk away. Jail, his Aegis is now done. Sledif is going in. Droop call. Jail actually working it up. This is a big pickup, and he's going to fall. The diving too deep coming out, but forcing some buybacks out from Tongfu. NB in trouble, has Ghost Scepter, has Yule's will TP out, and he might make it. He does get out just in time. The right click's not there to get the kill. And Rave not going for the base, instead going for the big kills.
Middle tower
they might have to wait a bit longer to be able to take this game.
Maybe hoping to get a lot more with that Chrono or setup. I mean, The buyback certainly helped out for Tongfu right there, don't get me wrong. They had a nice lead in there from Rave to be able to get some quick pickoffs and kills, but Tongfu were able to bounce back pretty damn fast, and you can't underestimate how much damage a Lycan can do. You may be kind of more focused on being able to get the objective of whoever's under that bubble, but if you got a Lycan on your ass, and he is dishing out right-click himself, his necro books, everything he benefits from all that, and with Hal, you'll be dropping pretty damn fast. And Jo lost his first life pretty quick, and then he was just chopped on down thereafter. So Tongfu, they have a really strong defense there, and Rave are not be able to get any sort of structure damage. A little bit on the tier 3, but
I'm really confused as to why Jo's using his BKB in his first life. That's the second time he's done that. I think he could just wait. Kabu's probably dead. Yeah, he's definitely dead. He actually drops the gem. They're not going to pick it up. Chrissy BM pauses after he gets the kill.
That is definitely a BM pause. That's what that was. Right now, he's taking a moment to...
Can't cancel TP.
He wants to cancel.
That is an issue. Tongfu with this information are like, he doesn't really want to cancel his TP. That's probably not good. It's getting in their heads, dude.
Icarus dive on Phoenix. Doesn't have an open slot for it, though. Okay, he does. He does cancel.
Oh, he wanted the gem. That's what
yeah. With that TP scroll disappearing, he's able to quickly have the spot to pick up the gem. Works out for them. Tongfu, who are in their own jungle. Meanwhile, up and above, into Boogie.
Chrissy, Crow! Oh, he couldn't. He thought too long. If he just popped it off. Ghost Scepter for NB. He uses the Necro Warrior. He's still probably dead.
Oh,
he'll try to TP. No, he's definitely dead. He needed the TP right after he used that Necro Warrior. I guess that's fine. I mean, he has almost his Ags and like 600 gold, so.
So for now, we'll see Rave. They do fault a little bit on their first initial high ground. Their big push, but they don't want to step away from the idea of keeping the pressure. They don't want to allow Tongfu to get comfortable at this point in the game and even think of an idea of being able to come back. Tongfu, though, they see this, they get their inch, and they want to be able to send it right back their way. They're feeling a lot more comfortable about their defense and having that big teamfight presence. You have Ravage up at the ready here. Still no Refresher Orb. Obviously, Pattern was brought down previously and had to go into his buyback piggy bank, so it's not like he's going to be too much closer to being able to get that precious Refresher Orb. But for now, they feel confident enough to be able to stand their ground, and we'll just have to see if Rave can make it happen here in their second go on the bottom lane.
And they don't have a Zeus, and he will have his ultimate when he's back up. I'm surprised they're going and thinking about pushing it to the high ground here. No buyback from anybody on the Radiant team, though, and if they get at least one kill, this could be huge. But it's going to take some work. Cliff's going to go. Cliff now down. That's a pretty big pickup. Zeus goes. The Ravage. Chrissy didn't get his BKB off. Deafening Blast, and he can't get the chrono. He finally BKBs. He actually lives. He stays alive. U9 going down to the right click, but there's the right click for Q. Meanwhile, they lose 2. They don't have the buyback on those heroes. The jaunt out coming through from the puck. He will make it away. Kill with no Ravage. He just used it. Jo coming back in. Cast in trouble getting right click down. He's no swap. Well, actually, he has one. He's not going to use the Sunstrike. Avoided. Swap out coming from the puck. And Cast might actually get away. The Necro Warrior going through gets killed by Jo. Necro Archer gets killed as well. But the Cast, no! Don't run back into the Wolves. Oh, he might live, actually.
Oh. The dance of the supports. Get these freaking Wolves away from me. They're about to take my life, for God's sakes. But they'll be A-okay. They do drop the bird, and now the Ravage is going to be down here, and so is Shapeshift for the meantime. So now they want to go right back in. They get a hold of Invoker and take him down. 100 seconds, no buyback for him. This is Rave's chance now to go at the base. Jo, not much mana to work with, but plenty of right click. They take down that tier 3, and they're going to be moving right on the racks here in the bottom lane. And what could be a very nice upset for them. Tongfu, they're trying their best. New Shapeshift. But now with bottom drop, they're going to go right for mid lane here. Still no Ravage, so no strong defense here for Tongfu.
He refreshed it. Blake Ravage goes! This might be the defense they're looking for. They're getting Prissy with the gush. He just fought back. They don't defend bottom. Mid is actually defended very well. Ninja Boogie does get the kill on Kabu. Now the BKB for U9. Another pause. It's a marathon. Gosh darn it, guys. Come on.
That was a pretty big combo breaker right there, not going to lie. But so they get their bottom lane. They go to mid. I didn't even recognize he had gotten thrown together that Refresher Orb on his way back in. He had the second Ravage, and now it's the start of a Tongfu comeback here for a strong defense. Lycan already committed his BKB at this point, as he's probably going to be able to absolutely slaughter Zeus right here. But he gets his ult off in the nick of time. So it's a double kill now for him. Jo moves on through, gets his own slash down. Tidehunter will be dropped. Now
Nice.
Jo,
Yeah,
New9 go
quick,
toe
yeah,
to
he
toe.
does have buyback.
Manning up, but no, it's Jay who falters and goes down. The coil's not going to be snapped. He does get that kill, does the puck. Rior is able to jaunt away. Phoenix, the lone survivor for Tongfu, as their base still getting invaded. Rave walk away, badly beaten, but they at least get the job done there in the bottom.
Under attack.
That was an
Dire's top
epic
tower
fight.
has
I don't
fallen.
know who came out ahead. I could check the team fight recap. The graph is still heavily in favor of Rave. They have a 25,000 network lead. They take the bottom set of racks. Mid-tier 3's been assaulted. It's been harmed, but not dead yet. And you saw U9 and Jo go toe-to-toe. Both of them have buyback, realizing that he doesn't need to buyback, liking his spirit from having to spend his. Him and Phoenix are the only two on his team that have it. Roche is going to be max duration or close to, so they won't be able to take it for another minute or so. Actually, 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes even. And I honestly, Rior is having one heck of a game. He is level
Certainly
25.
is.
He's a Shiva's Guard, Hex, Yules, Aghanim Scepter, Blink Dagger.
He's got more
All that
net
is
worth than Lycan.
bots. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
He's doing so well. He's executing very, very well, and he itemized beautifully for this game, I'd have to say. But so far, it's feeling a little bit like the classic Rave. They have the upper hand, but they got to finish. We're not convinced it's their game to take until they get the job done, the deed done. And Tongfu already have eyes on this Roche pit for a next potential engagement. They want to be there at the ready. They get down the Imba ward that a lot of pro players like to call it up on the high ground. And it's going to be a long clock, so this works out a bit for Rave if they wanted to make sure they had everyone back and at the ready. But we'll see what Tongfu want to do to maybe prevent them from getting that extra life, because that could be the breaking point for Rave to be able to secure this win.
I think if they get an Aegis to Skims, probably it'll be HGs, and this game will probably be over at that point, unless Rave do some, let's just say, extraordinarily dumb shit, which I don't see them doing because they played so well this game. Up until like the fights for the last couple minutes have been kind of wonky, but they're gonna smoke up, and actually Tongfu are all spread out. This could be a disaster. Lightning bolt. And they might spout out Kabu, and he's gonna get maybe caught here. Shivas goes and. Okay.
This is Phoenix. Icarus dive gets him away. He immediately goes into ult. And Rave kind of second guess their engagement here. It does force out the Phoenix ult, so it'll be down for 100 seconds. Assume they saw that. Maybe they didn't see it. So they might not know.
I think they saw the supernova. The puck definitely saw the supernova, but he just like, they're like, okay, well, we forced that out. We don't really need to fight now. Let's not worry about it. Tongfu does have really good vision around the Roche pit here, and they're going to try to make a go on this. Refresher's up now, coming up for the Tidehunter, so double Ravage, double level 3 Ravage, by the way, coming up for the Tide. Should have enough mana. Let's see. Well, yeah, he should have enough. 1,008 mana. Let's see, 375 plus Ravage is 325. He should have enough. Yeah, he'll be fine.
Seconds. Roche is going to pop up. The Remnant already there. Second Kabu leaves. Just about to be there. And there it is. Hi. Oh, I get a moment to breathe.
I'm back home. Please don't trash my apartment.
But they have this vision up here, mind you. They can see when Rave is nearby, thinking about making a go. So they know Jo is in that mid lane by his lonesome. So he can quickly hop back at the moment's notice with the Remnant. They know what's happening. Tongfu instantly go on over. And they only commit Chrissy inside the pit for now and have a good hold on the back. But Tongfu know they're there. Now they do get the ward taken down. They're going to be in the dark for this one. Now committing
Chrissy.
forward. No supernova. They take down the Phoenix. Gem's going to go down. Chrissy gets a beautiful Chronosphere from behind, locking down 3. BKB going to immediately be popped. But there's going to be Ravage number 1. Jo going to be bursting down that first life. Ravage number 2. Rior self-heals to get himself away from this one. Death Ward going to be preempted. Stopped right there. And now they take out Kabu. Big fight for Rave. They clear round 4, and now they'll be able to pick up the cheese. Pick up the cheese. Get the cheese. You got to eat, my young boys. Now they're going to run back to the other side. Tongfu are going to be stuck in a predicament where they have no Lycan for 70 seconds. No buyback for him either.
Radiant's middle tower
That was an outstanding fight from Rior. He has impressed me so much in this game. That Dream Coil onto 3 mid Ravage. Gets the phase shift off, and this is the first Ravage. Second Ravage goes, doesn't even care. Swap out onto Shift Q, who just bought back. Goodbye, GG.
It's over.
That is it. That is enough. We have been thrashed enough. And Rave easily outplaying Tongfu in this game, and a huge upset in the first game we cast Dakota. What a series, what a game coming up for Rave. Wow.
They played that so well. It seemed like, okay, they got their upper hand like we see from Rave, but they just slow played it and did it beautifully. And they were able to take Tongfu and make Tongfu look like a different team. Mind you, this Tongfu team came out of the DAC with the best record, 26-4. And you're talking about they're going against like the big gods, the E-Homes and stuff. They were the best. And they just got beat by Rave. And I also, have word here that MVP Phoenix also got a win. So these C teams, don't count them out, man. They got some spice. So they get their win here, and they look really damn good doing it. So that's just game number 1 of this long, long day of Dota. We got 8 more best of ones coming your way. If you like what you heard, catch me on my Twitter at KotLGuy. Maut, great guy. Support him over on his Twitter at MautDota. We'll be back for our next matchup, which I believe, and according to the schedule, I'll pop it up for you to see, is going to be C9 taking on Hyper Glory Team. That game will be coming up in just a moment.